airports into back down from the database, but let me go ahead and create a screen for like my airports. I'm lost. So we'll say new activity, empty activity, and this is going to be our airport list activity. Bring me coffee?
You got coffee. You didn't ask for another one.
All right, so airport list activity. And this guy is going to be where we come once we have a, we click to view airports or something. So let's go back to our main activity screen, dealy flippy thing here. So this is layout. Here's activity main. I'm going to go ahead and just add another button up here for, we'll just call it airport list or something. All right, and then in main activity, I need to give this guy an on click to take me there. So at the bottom here, we'll say public void on airport list button pressed. Intent I is equal to new intent using this context, and airport list activity dot class. Then this dot start activity I. What's up? What's happening? Oh, I was going slow.
I know, it's slow for you.
We need to put on some Backstreet Boys so we can slow it down. Like, what is he doing? Yes, so I just went in my main activity. I added another button, and here's my on-click button for that guy. Nothing new, just buttons that take me to other pages. That's why I'm doing those parts fast. It's just standard, make your interface go from one screen to another stuff. So back out here in, where's my main activity guy here? I'll set the on click for my airport list to be that guy on airport list button. Okay. And then that guy is going to take me here to this screen, which is my airport list screen. And I will go ahead and, I don't know, I'll put my vertical linear layout in here. And what is this thing? Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'll put a little text view here at the top. And we'll just have this guy say airport list, like that. And then we'll go ahead and give this guy a legacy list view. Toss that guy in there. And this guy will be our airport LV, our airport list view. Okay, and then, now for our airports, well, we'll decide how we want it to be represented here shortly, but for our airports, we probably want just city and region or something like that. I'll use a simple array adapter just for speed here rather than build a custom one, because we can have one string in a simple one. So let me just do this. I can actually, is this my another row? Is that the basic guy? Yeah. So I can actually use this another row thing, which is just a single text view row. This doodle, I can use him for that. So we're going back to like our old school array adapters to just let me put a string in there just so I can get this stuff out there quickly. All right, so I'll go ahead and get my airport list view here in this code. So this guy is going to be a private list view, airport list view. Inside of onCreate, we'll say this dot airport list view is equal to this dot find view by ID, r.id dot airport list view. So now we have that guy hooked up, connected to him. That's our MVC dealy flippy stuff, right? All right, so now we need to go ahead and I'm gonna go, before I do anything else on this screen, let's just run this real quick and make sure we can get to this screen. I'm going to go ahead and set up my database listener, yeah.
So are you going to be adding everything to the database then?
No, it's already in the database.
So did you delete the thing?
No, still not. Oh, I thank you. It's a good call. Very good call. Start for the day. Where's my coffee?
Already.
No, my second coffee.
I purposely
Yeah.
got even bigger one.
Apology not accepted.
How would I do
Main activity, so just for right now, just in case we need to come back and do something, I'll just comment out my network thread. We just won't do that stuff right now, okay?
I was gonna say it's like something you wouldn't normally manage from the client, like the back end. You'd like if we
Yeah, because that's something we just wanted to do once to get our stuff loaded into the database. But you're going to need that code for your homework because you're going to do similar type of screen scraping stuff. All right, so I go to my airport list. That takes me here, so I currently have an empty thing. Everything looks fine. So now I'm going to go ahead and give myself a reference to the airport inside here. So I'll steal that from my network thread. Here's my database reference. All right, so that's my world airports. Now I want to go ahead and grab all the information from that world airport thing. So I'm going to say ref what is it? Add listener for single value event. I think that'll let me do it because I just want to get the kind of a dump of the database. And this is a value event. So new value event listener like this. So when I do a single one, this is just doing it one time. It's not going to keep it running over and over and over again. I just want the dump of my database. All right, so this is the same thing we've done before, right? I know the code looks weird, but this is just, here's my database reference specifically to my world airports. Here's that reference. I'm adding a listener. In this case, I'm doing a listener for a single value event, not for every single time something changes. So then on data change, which I expect will happen one time, when it's giving me our original dump, let's make sure it gives me that dump. So I'll say system.out.println. We'll put some things like that in there. We'll say data snapshot dot toString. So we'll just see what our data snapshot looks like. And that's all inside of onCreate. So go ahead and clear this out here. So now when I come to this screen, it's going to get that dump of my database and show me that data snapshot so I can figure out how I need to process it. Okay, because it's going to come in as an array. So kind of the keys are going to be like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, that kind of stuff. So rather than crazy looking unique keys, I'm just going to have just ordered. So let's see what that dude looks like. So here's my airport list. Okay, so there's my world airports. And the value, here's, yeah, so here's key value. name over and over again. So I want to get the, for each child, so this is a data snapshot child, so it's pretty much going to be the same code we had before. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to do, everybody relax. I'm going to do it with an array to keep it simple. So we'll say private. So I'm going back to our weak array adapters that can only do strings. All right, so I'm going to have a private, actually I can do this with linked lists. That'll work. So I'm going to say private linked list of strings, and we're going to call this the airport strings. This is going to be a new linked list of strings. Oh, same problem before. You know what? We're not using linked list anywhere else in our code, are we? Nope. Let's just view usages here. What are you doing?
Did you break anything?
Huh?
Did you break anything?
No, it's fine.
No, we just calling it airport.
Yeah, we're getting rid of this guy. Delete everything. Delete anyways. Okay. So now I can get normal linked list. Man, look, attempting to delete invalid. That looks scary. All right, so we have a linked list of that, and then we have a private linked list of airports. Let's call this guy the airports. This is a new linked list of airports. So all I did there is our original linked list, the thing we wrote in class, that was called linked list, which happens to be the identical name to Java's linked list. So since we actually made our own special versions of linked lists that we're actually using in our code, we made linked lists of credit cards and linked lists of loyalty programs, we weren't actually using our generic linked list anymore. Make sense? So by me deleting linked list, or I could have just renamed it to something else, that now allows me to say linked list here like this, rather than me having to say java.util.linked to use Java's built-in linked list. Because Java has a built-in linked list type that lives inside of the util library of Java. So this is something that came with Java that we haven't used until today. But it's a plain Jane linked list that can allow you to store 0 things or 5 zillion things. We've written them ourselves up to this point, so now we're allowed to use their built-in types. But
so now that you deleted that for that line, you could just write linked
yeah,
list
I could just change it back to linked list. And now it's going to want me to import. So if I say java.util.linked list, I'm giving it the full path where it lives. There's nothing to import. But if I import this now it brings in java.util linked list up here. It finds it for me. Okay. All right, so I've created 2 different linked lists up here. One's just going to be the string representation of my airports. The other one is going to be my actual airport objects. I don't know if I'll need them or not, but so inside here, I'll say for data snapshot ds in data snapshot dot get children. I'm going to do some stuff. What stuff am I going to do? I'm going to say, I'm going to go ahead and actually just give myself a airport temp here just to work with. So I'll go ahead and say temp is equal to ds.get value, and this guy is going to be of type airport dot class. So that'll get me my airport, right? Then do I have like a toString inside of airport? Let's go ahead and write that. So we're going to want our row to maybe say maybe the country, maybe city, then country, then IATA. It's going to be too long if we have like the whole name of the airport and stuff in there. So maybe that's going to be the better one. So we'll say public string toString, and we'll return this dot city concatenated with maybe a comma concatenated with this dot region. Whatever. Concatenated with, we'll put another comma in here, and then actually, you know what? I bet you it'll look decent this way. This dot country. Yeah, I'll put country in there too, we'll just see what it ends up looking like. And then I'll put a parenthesis here, this dot airport code, with an extra parenthesis there at the end. So I'm just building a little string that, allows me to kind of show what an airport is. So city, this will kind of be city, state, country, with little dashes between them, and then build up our airport here. We might want to do some data cleanup, but this will, to have some of those double quotes and stuff not show up, but this will be fine for at least right now. All right, so that's what this guy is, toString. So now I can come back in here, and I'll go ahead and I'm going to say this dot, isn't it? Oh, I can't do this dot because that's not inside of it, so I need to get to the airports and the airport string. So I can just say the airports dot add temp, the airport string, it's really airport strings is probably what I want it to be. Dot add temp dot toString. So that'll be my string representation of that guy. Okay. So now that's what good.
So right now we're trying to fill up our list view. Is our end goal of what we're doing right now?
Fill up my list view with strings, but we won't have that old original problem we had where I had to have 1,000 things, because now I'm using a linked list to fill up my list view. And array adapters, I'm almost positive a generic array adapter will work for this. So I'm going to say array adapter, and this is going to be an adapter for holding strings. Is a new array adapter for strings, and I need to pass this guy a context, and then I need to pass this guy r.layout. What do I call it? Another row. That was just a generic row that only took only had a text field. And then I need to pass out my collection, which will be this dot the airport strings. Okay. Then I'll say this dot airport lv dot set adapter to AA. Leave it at that for right now. All right. Now, after we've added a bunch of stuff to our adapter here, to our linked list of strings, which powers our adapter, after we've added a bunch of stuff, we're going to have to say, I need to give myself global access of this guy. AA.notify dataset changed. So it rereads that stuff and fills in my rows. So on create, we'll go ahead and find our list view, create our array adapter based on this initially empty string array, set the adapter for that guy. Then we put our single listener for our database in here, which just gets that initial dump. It doesn't sit there and listen for additional changes, because we're not, I mean, the idea is we're not going to be updating our database for our airports. We might for other things, but not for our airports. So I just like, give me the database, I'm going to load it into, so when it changes, which happens the very first time, I'll go ahead and grab an airport, I'll load it into my linked list of airports, and then here's my airport strings for displaying the stuff. And then I'll notify that data set changed. And my array adapter was built in terms of that airport strings thing here. All right, so now what should happen is when I go to this page, it'll initially be empty, and then should pop in with a bunch of airport two-string looking things.
What was the another row and the adapter?
Yeah, that was something we made like a long time ago. It's just one of our basic text view rows.
Okay.
So this guy right here, all he is a text view, just a row for holding a string.
Okay.
So I'm just repurposing that. Here's my airport list, and there it is popped in with a bunch of airports. Man, look how awesome that looks. Blackwell, U.S., Oklahoma. What is this? Oh, that's the city. So this is
This is a lot of information.
yeah, no, it's easy.
They combine this.
You just spin through here and just find Milwaukee.
Yeah, just find Milwaukee.
There.
They combine the country and state together for all the United States ones. And it looks like all the countries are that way. So you have your country code and then the state identifier and then the city.
So what's this guy?
So that should be the city.
Is that the order I did it?
I believe so. Yeah, city.
Oh.
Which is interesting because all the regions have a country identifier in front of it. So like Milwaukee is going to be US dash
Yeah.
Wisconsin. And then you're going to have the country code of US.
So we probably want to have a search ability. That's what you're really saying, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
that's it.
sorry, I have a question.
Yeah, but from before. You said that's a lot of data. Oh, you said it's a lot of data.
But yes, we should probably.
We should have a search feature. All right, so let's write a quick search feature. I'm lost. Found it. All right, so we're going to put a little edit text above here to allow you to type in some junk, and then put a button underneath that dude. In fact, I'll put the button at the very top. That way the buttons are always clickable. So here's my button at the top of the vertical thing. Then I'll put my edit text, and this guy is just going to be probably not numbers. So let's just do it as, is there like a name? I guess plain text is probably the best. Oh, yeah, it looks like that'll be the name one. All right, but that'll also let us put in numbers, but whatever. And then we have our airport list underneath that. So we're going to call this guy search ET. And then this button is, actually, let's call this guy filter ET. Because we're filtering on what we type in there, right? And then this button, we'll put the text on here that says filter. Okay. And then what we're going to do, oh yeah, this can be fun. It's actually going to be pretty easy. So we'll just do it at turbo speed. Backstreet Boys. All right, so, all right. We actually set it up pretty well for this. So let me go ahead and get me access to this and also set up a clicker button listener thingy for that guy. So is this my airport list activity? It is. So I'll say private edit text filter ET. Inside of onCreate, I'll go ahead and get myself access to that guy. So this dot filter ET is equal to this dot find view by ID r.id dot filter ET. So I have access to that dude. Okay. Then I'm going to give myself a button. So public void on filter button pressed. UV. Okay, and this guy's job is going to be to read in the string from that edit text thing, right? So we'll go ahead and say string filter string is equal to this dot filter et dot get text dot toString. So that's what I typed into that text box, presumably, right? Now what I want to do is I have a linked list of all my airports, correct? I want to go ahead and dump my list of airport strings, make it 0. Then I want to go back through my list of all the airports, asking each one, does this filter apply to you? Okay, so watch how I update airports here. So I'll go into airport. I'm just going to add a function here, public Boolean, say filter applies, have that guy take in a string, and for right now we're just going to check it against everything. If the string you typed in matches the city, the state, the you know, the region, whatever, the airport code, if it matches anything in there, we're going to give you a thumbs up, true. I'm one of your guys, you want me. All right, so we're going to say if, actually we can, I'm going to say return, I'll just kind of write this in a kind of a cool way. We'll say this dot name dot contains filter string, or this dot city dot contains filter string, or this dot region dot contains filter string, or this dot airport code dot contains filter string. Am I missing one? Name, oh, it didn't do country. This dot country dot contains filter string. If any of these are true, this whole thing will boil down to true. All right, so contain says search in here for this value, and if you find it, return true. Okay, so if it finds this filter string anywhere in name, city, region, airport code, or country, this guy will return true. That make sense?
So you have to clear your list first, though.
Yeah, well, I just added this ability to an airport. So now I can, if I have an airport here, I say, are you MKE? Do you filter applies MKE for Milwaukee? And there might be some other ones that have, maybe some Croatian airport that happens to have an MKE somewhere in it or something like that, but it should at least dwindle it down quite a bit. So I'll go in here. first thing I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll say this dot the airport strings dot remove all. Can't I? So it's called empty, clear, clear. Built-in linked list, you can tell it to just clear itself. So now everything's gone from that string one. Don't empty out your objects. Okay, now I can say for, I will do a for each loop going through because I don't need access to the position. I don't care if I'm at bucket 0, bucket 1, bucket 14. I'll say for each airport A in this dot the airports, if A dot filter applies filter string, this dot the airport strings dot add A dot toString. So this will go through all of my airports. So I empty out the strings. I go through all of my airports. I ask each airport, does this filter apply to you? If it returns yes, true, I'll add the toString version of that guy to my strings. I'll do that for every single airport object, and then I'll say this dot, what do I call it, AA? Yeah, AA. Dot notify dataset changed. That's the on filter button pressed.
We're gonna need a way to go back too, right?
A who?
A way to go back.
Yeah, but you probably can just put the empty string in there, and I think that'll probably end up working. But you're not wrong. Yeah, maybe a reset button or something would be, we'll see how it works. So let me hook up that button real quick. Here's my button. Here's my on click. There's that guy. And then we'll run this, and let's see if we can find Milwaukee in our gigantic list of awesomeness. Oh, it's nice how it doesn't empty out. All right, so I'll filter. Oh, is it? Oh, capitalized MKE. So I need to do. There's Milwaukee. Ah! All right, so let me go back, and I'm going to put a hint in here. So we'll call this guy filter string and take this name thing out. Then we're going to do, I think we could say contains ignore case, I think is a thing.
So I get back both of them, then have to play some street punch or whatever.
We would have to make them both lowercase. Let me try something here. This dot contain, let's see, this dot name dot. Yeah, this is gonna. Okay, so dot to lowercase. So we'll convert every one of our strings here to lowercase. And then we'll say filter string is equal to filter string dot to lowercase. So I'll say, is the lowercase version of filter string equal to the, is it contained in the lowercase version of name? Is it contained in the lowercase version of city? So on and so forth. So there's my Milwaukee. Yeah, so there's the Shymekent, whatever that is. And then I think I pronounced that right. So all right, so let's see if I go back to like the empty string. Haha. We can reset it. So that's pretty awesome, right? Things look good for our airports. Okay, so now what we want to do is I have this page here, flightsfromsomething.com. Okay, so this is flightsfrom.com. I'll go ahead and paste this in Slack. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type in like MKE here. Doesn't matter because you're going to see the thing updates up here. All right, and so this gives me all the destinations. There, does it give me a list? I remember I looked, it does. Under destinations. Okay. Okay. So this guy is giving me a list of all of these things. So for Milwaukee, so notice it's up here. It says flightsfrom.com/MKE, all caps, /destinations. And then inside here, it's giving me this list. So from Milwaukee, I can go to Atlanta, to Baltimore, to Boston, to Cancun. There's a direct flight to Cancun? Hello. Yeah, Delta or Southwest fly direct to Cancun. It's got to be seasonal. I bet you spring break goes directly to Cancun. Hello. Man, I really like the way you say that. It's nerdy and awesome at the same time. Bruh. All right, so we want to get this part of our code, and we want to populate a list view. So when I click on that screen, when I click on one of my airports, I wanted to send my airport code to the next screen. Okay, so let's get our click listener going on here. See where we're going with this? It's gonna be awesome. So I click on Milwaukee, it takes me to another screen. It's gonna show me all the direct flights from Milwaukee. Because you're going to,
Milwaukee?
huh? From Milwaukee. Yep. All right. So let me.
Run on the filter string?
Who?
What did you end up running on the filter string?
What do you mean?
Ignore the keys.
I just changed all the things to lowercase when I was testing them. I have it on the screen right now. Name 2 lowercase, city 2 lowercase, region.
What is the first line for that?
This just converts filter string to the lowercase version of itself, so I didn't have to put 2 lowercase on each one of these.
So I don't need to do it both.
Well, I changed filter string to be the lowercase version of himself here. Once. So that every time I use it from this point forward, it's lowercase.
It doesn't matter in your return statement then? Or you need it in both places?
You do.
What do you mean?
You need to, because what you enter in, you also need to check for have that be for the Lord.
Yeah, it's like a.
I don't want to permanently change these guys. I don't want to permanently change the name of the city or the region, the airport. So I'm saying give me temporarily the lowercase version of that guy. And I'm going to compare him. I'm going to see, does that guy contain my current version of filter string? It just so happens my current version of filter string is the lowercase version of himself. Okay, so what I'm going to do, since we've already done the on-click thing, you already know how to do that, I'm going to get you some parse code going. Okay? So we'll go ahead with our, so I'm going to use our network thread here, because we don't need to get it from this place again. So I'm going to give us a little sample thing here that you'll have to operate off of. All right, so as an example, I'm going to steal that right there. All right, so that's flightsfrom.com/MKE, which is the uppercase version of the IATA or the airport code, hint, hint, followed by destinations. Remember, this guy is a string. You could have built this string. If you said this guy concatenated with MKE concatenated with
I think I see it.
this guy. That make sense? In fact, I'll do you a favor. I'll leave that in there just like that.
Okay.
Just like that. Okay. You might want to make this part somewhat dynamic. You might want to find a way to get that in there. Okay. So we have our airport URL. What I want to do here, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of, well, I'm just going to comment some stuff out here since we're not dealing with linked lists of airports and stuff like that. Let's see. All right, I'm going to give myself a string to build all the stuff into. I'll go ahead and say data is equal to data concatenated with input dot next line. All right, and then in the end, I'll go ahead and just print out data. All right, so what I'm doing here, when I start this thread and run it, it's going to hit this website. I'm assuming we're looking at Milwaukee here. Yours should work for other airports as well. All right, it reads everything in. I fill up a string with it because, you know, this guy's going to be much smaller, right? He's just going to be this whole web page in its HTML format. So what I'm going to get, if I right click here and I say view page source, it's going to give me that. All of the HTML code of that page. Okay? Now, how do you walk the HTML code for that page? I'm going to give you a hint. Okay? Now, that's just a giant bunch of text, right? Giant string. So let's just see that string first. Go back in here. So what I'll do is let's just run this from within main like we did before, just to see the code dump out. So I'll go ahead and use my network thread again here. Open up logcat. I'll dump that guy. We'll go ahead and hit play. And we should get, I did put a double quote in front of that, or the 3 asterisks in front of that, didn't I? Or did I just say data? No, I did. Okay, so here's that giant HTML document. Okay. Now, I'm going to go back here. So this is where you have to start using the web page a little bit. So I'm going to click up, I think it's here, in Chrome at least. Chrome will be your friend here. I'm going to go to More Tools. I'm going to go to Developer Tools. Is this how I get to my inspector?
Yep, you're there.
Okay. So this is going to allow me to inspect things. So what I'm going to do here is I want to look at my elements in here. So I'm going to start, so I clicked elements, I'm going to start dragging through until I start getting into places in my code, although I can actually do this. I can use this guy, and I can select an item here. Okay, so this is airport content destination list name. So I know this might seem kind of small over here. I don't know if I can make it any larger, but you'll see the recording when I put it up here. But when I hover over things over here, it shows me things that I can look for. So I'm just going to click that to get me into this place. So what was this, Portland? I'm going to actually give you the thing you're going to need. Let me click there. Airport content destination list name. And then I get Portland. This guy should be Punta Gorda, so let me do this. So this is airport, content, destination, list name. Now I'm just going to do this as standard strings here. So I'm going to come into the code here. I'm going to go string array parts is equal to data dot split. I'm going to split on that guy right there. Okay? So I'm saying I get this giant string. I want you to break that string up into new elements each time you see this airport content destination list name. Now if we go back in here, following that content destination list name, we then have a span class, blah, 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 airport, font, mid header, whatever. But I think you're going to see that the airport names or the city names come up very early on in that, and it's consistent. So let me run this and I'll show you. So I'm going to split it on that, and I'm going to say for part and we'll say system.out.println, and I'll put a couple asterisks there, and then I'm going to just say print out that part. All right, I'm not going to dump out all the data this time because that just throws it all in one giant line. Instead, I'm going to say just show me, once I break it up on this, show me the early parts of the chunks that have those pieces. Zero this out here.
So is this something that you'll download to the database once and not use again? Because the flight, like you said, like the Cancun one would be seasonal, so would that change depending on when you're looking at it? Like would the flights change at all?
Oh,
Or they'd have to
you wouldn't, yeah, you would do this each time. So you'd only do the airport codes once,
and then
like we did. But this you would do each time because, so first of all, you noticing here, we got a whole lot of city names there pretty quick. Where they fly. So let's clean that up a little bit more. We got 2 minutes left. I'll be nice to you. All right, so that gets us the part. Then out of that part, I want to get that's the dude I'm searching for. So destination search item, because I want the guy immediately following that up until the location of this dude. So string before val is equal to that. String after val is equal to, doesn't matter, I'll just be verbose with it. That. All right, and then we're going to say int before index, int, actually we just put them on the same line, after index. So now instead of printing out part, what I want to do is I want to say before index is equal to part dot index of before, I'm sorry, index of before val. Yep.
Here's what I found on the web.
Thank you.
Before val, yeah.
Very helpful. This guy. Then I'll ask the question, because notice it wasn't there on the very first line. Found something way down there. So I'll ask the question, if before index is not equal to -1, because index of returns a -1 when it doesn't find something. It returns a number, the first location in the string where it did find it, when it did. So this says, if I found this search string somewhere inside of part, I'm going to go ahead and say before index plus equals before val dot length, because I need to jump ahead the length of this string to get me positioned right after this where my city name starts. Then I'll say after index is equal to part dot index of this guy, and the guy I'm searching for is after val, and I'm starting from before index, just in case there was another one of these slash spans before it. I'm only going to search for the slash span. So once I found the location of this guy and I position myself right here, I'm only going to search for the slash span from that point to find me the first location. That will give me the location of where this guy is. Then I can say system.out.println part.substring before index, after index.
You don't have asterisks in there.
Oh, thank you.
I can't take credit for that.
Okay. Yeah, so it's getting me the extra lines too. I'm getting all my cities at the beginning. So what's that guy from? So before val. Am I still printing out the other stuff? I am. Let's look at it again with a little bit less crap printed out.
Deconstruct with the desktop.
It's not too bad. There you
I
are.
still can't get mine to upload Firebase the first time.
All right. So there is all of our city names.
That's awesome.
Wait, what did you just change?
Nothing was broken. I was just still printing out part. So I was printing out the giant crazy looking HTML line after each of my city names. Yeah, so it just looked messy. All right, so I've given you code now that if you happen to start this thread up and you happen to change that MKE to something, right? The airport code, all uppercase. Airport code, actually it might not even have to be all uppercase. It will get you all the cities that this goes to. Got it? So what your code should do is when you go to airport list and you find an airport in here, if I search for MKE, and then I click, I gotta search for MKE better. All right, and here's Milwaukee. I click this guy. It should take me to a screen that shows the list of all the airports that Milwaukee flies direct to. Make sense? So is this cool stuff?
Cool stuff.
Okay. Now, keep in mind, I gave you the parse stuff here, but you're going to have to figure out, how do I get this guy in there?
You gave us that too.
Hmm?
You gave us that too.
Well, you got to piece it together. Okay. When does this code run? When does this code run?
That only runs once on start, doesn't it?
Well, right now.
Yeah.
When can you make this code run?
That's the one we want.
When you start it.
When you create an instance of network thread and then tell that dude to start. So if you want another hint, you might find it handy for network thread constructors to take in maybe an airport code. Because this guy's just an object. Nothing keeps me from coming in here and saying public network thread Nothing keeps me from doing that. How you want to use that field is up to you. But nothing keeps you from doing that. Right now, my code's broken. My code's broken because I no longer have an empty constructor. This guy's expecting me to give him something kind of like that. What? This is all from using these other laptops today. My fingers are all off. Something like that. So then you got to connect a few dots. Make sense? All right, questions about what I'm asking you to do? 2 weeks to do it. It's due 2 weeks from today. All right, because I'm gone next week, so we will not have class next week. I will put up so between now and next time you have to do this assignment as well as the midterm exam. I'll put it up on Blackboard, give you like 2 hours or something, 3 hours, however long I make it, but it'll be a time thing, so make sure you have enough time to sit down and do it in that period of time. I don't care when you do it in the next 2 weeks, just do it. And I'll have internet while I'm gone and stuff, so you have questions or need a video chat or something, we can do that.
That's next week when we put that up.
I'll probably put up the test either tomorrow morning or Thursday.
And that will be due.
Yeah, everything that's assigned is due when we come back. Next time we meet, which is 2 weeks from today.
You gonna give us another Corinthians chapter?
I actually probably won't. There won't be one. There wasn't one for this week because all my other classes have midterms, and I'm gone next week, so I probably won't give one for next week. So I encourage you to read the Bible anyways.
Do a free day. Teach the element.
All right, so we're cool. Let me go ahead. I'll commit this code so you have the most up-to-date version of this.
Good night.
Awesome, parse. So doesn't it feel like we're being real programmers now, doing cool stuff?
Oh, I feel like a real programmer
I feel like I was
before.
watching.
What's up?
I wasn't actually one. I was just watching.
Yeah, but you got 2 weeks now to become one now, based on this, right?
Yeah, you're right.
We're all gonna be programmers now.
I mean, this assignment shouldn't take more than 40 or 50 hours. It's possible, I think, to do this in 20 minutes. That's possible. I'm just putting in the context. Video.